I'm just getting back from a week-long silent retreat. I thought I would do a quick market update or market insight for the coming holiday week here, the 18th through the 22nd. So starting with our normal approach here with the monthly chart on the top-down approach, obviously bullish. We have resistance directly overhead with the all-time highs here at 48.08 and a quarter. There's some confluence above that level with the diagonal support line here. So somewhere up there, we're likely to see sellers to come in, somewhere above 48.08, probably between 48.08 and 5,000. But we aren't seeing that yet. I'm still thinking about, in fact, that 5,000 level. Not that we'd make that level next week, but it may take until January, but it seems like an attractive target. We'll talk a little bit about that, a little bit more about that in a few moments. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. So the weekly, last week we saw price rally up and through the 46.34 high. Resistance, that was the April 22 high, and then the recent high that was kind of a test of that this past summer that created the down move that ended in right at around the end of October. And so we see this big push up, and it was initiated by the absorption. You can kind of see it here on the weekly, these couple of bars here, but we'll see it much more clearly on the daily. Again, we've got a lot of confluence overhead here with the all-time high resistance and the two weekly supply lines, the larger one coming off of last October's low, and then the current one coming off of this October's low, the more immediate supply line. So there's some symmetry there with the Octobers, I guess. In any event, this is suggesting resistance up here from the 48.08 level up to around 48.60 and maybe a little bit higher than that, but up in that area. But thus far, there's no supply, no notable supply on the weekly. The only negative I see here is the penetration of the demand line that occurred in October on that last shakeout down. And then the bottom reversal that came out of that, or the bottom reversal lookalike that came out of that. It's not quite a bottom reversal. That does weaken the trend channel, but there's no further weakness, at least as of yet. We have to see, other weakness coming in, and then maybe this will be significant. We'll see. Anyway, let's take a look at the daily. Last week we talked about the line of congestion here being absorption. This last week we were looking at this, I think it was 13 days, and then we added another day or two here. So 13, 14, 15 days of absorption that occurred. And we said that if this was really true absorption, we would expect to see a couple of things. We'd expect to see the lows start to lift up and away from the support level down here, and we certainly see that. That was one key. And then the other, which doesn't always happen, is that volume would start to expand. Buyers would get eager here. We didn't really see that. We saw some good volume last Friday, and then volume on Monday. But on the actual break of the 46.34 and a half high, we actually had low volume or lower volume on that day. Maybe that was due to rollover. Yeah, probably due to rollover. Right? And in any event, we certainly saw the supports lifting, as we said, on Monday and Tuesday. Volume didn't quite expand, but there was pretty sustained volume, if we look here, in the absorption area itself. So I'm just gonna, and that sometimes happens. We don't get that volume. So with the heavy volume throughout the absorption period, we assume that most larger buyers got their positions on early. We also mentioned that the 46.34 resistance level going back to the April 22 high was not likely to offer much resistance due to the absorption just below. You remember I suggested that, if this is true absorption, which it turns out that it was, that we will probably knife right through that resistance and head on up towards the 4800, 4808 level. And that's what happened. A lot of this is accumulation in here, or reaccumulation, if you will. And so nearby resistance like that really doesn't stand a chance. So Tuesday broke that resistance level, and then Wednesday has the gap up and a big day up. And that gap initiated that. The imbalance between demand and supply got resolved in a trend day to the upside. Thursday and Friday didn't quite see the same kind of movement up, and we started to see a little bit of volume come in on Thursday. So some shortening of the thrust we're seeing, some effort versus result on Thursday. And Friday is an inside day, right? It's inside the high and low of Thursday. So it's suggesting some profit taking after the big day up on Wednesday. Now it's possible that the market may turn down from here, but I don't really think we're going to react very far if it does. 47.45. Since I'm mispronouncing it, I'll write it in. 47.30. I'm still doing it. 47.45. 45 is Thursday's low. That would be one level I'd be watching. And then down to around 47.25, maybe down to 20, would be about the halfway point here on the big day up. So if that's what I would anticipate, those two levels holding in there, one of those two levels holding. If the market says, hey, Gary, that's wrong, and wants to go deeper, then Wednesday's low is going to be the key level there. And we'll see if the market wants to get down in there. I don't really see that happening, but we never want to try to predict, only anticipate. So anticipating Thursday's low is the first support around 47.25. Maybe down to 20 as second support. That's around the halfway point of the vertical acceleration, and then Wednesday's low after that. Now to the upside, assuming we push up above 4808, and I'm making that assumption, we could just come up to 4808 and drop from there, or start to pull back from there. But my sense is that we're in the holiday week coming into December. It's pretty bullish in the background. There's nothing really negative here in the markets except for a little shortening of the thrust and profit taking. So I think the odds stand pretty well to push through 4808. So look for resistance around 4820, assuming now we get up above 4828. 4820, then again maybe 4850 up to around 60 next week. We'll see if those levels pose any kind of resistance and sellers to come in. They would be logical levels there. And remember, somewhere up there, we're going to see that because we've got a lot of confluence there. So take a look at the major markets here. Again, everything is bullish. The Dow making new all-time highs. Isn't that amazing? The Dow had been weaker and weaker, and now it's turning into strength. So that's also kind of, an indication of bullishness. These are the blue chips, right? So they're doing well. People are buying those. And they generally buy those when they believe that the economy is going to be good and the market's going to be good and so on and so forth. So that should take the other two markets up as well and push through, and likely push through their all-time highs as well. So I want to take a quick moment here and just let's take a look at the point and figure chart on this. Now this is a 50 by 1 point and figure. I like this it's a good one for intermediate kind of swings like this. It's based off of the daily highs and lows rather than the daily closes, so it's a little more refined, I guess you might say. And it's a big S&P cash index so that we can avoid the problems with the rollover in the contracts. Again, everything here. The main accumulation occurred here back last summer and into the fall last year. And the initial projection, this was off of the 3750 line, and you can read the levels here. We took a conservative count, which had 12 figures times 50, that was 600. We added to the bottoms, we added to these two levels, and that brought us up to 4350 projection. That got broken, obviously. And so then, therefore, we can go to the left and take a larger count, and we would add another 15 figures here or another 750 points. So the combination of those two would be 1350. We would add 1350 to the low here at 35, and again to the line, and that would give us projections to 4850, right, and 5100. And then recently, starting in the springtime here and ending, as I said, in October, we have a stepping stone confirming count. We have, what do we have? 18 figures. Now you can get a little more refined with this, and you can end it here and say, well, we'll do phase 1 to here, and then, but I just put everything in here all together. And that gives us projections up to 50-50, which is kind of in the middle of this area. So now you're beginning to see where the 5,000 target level comes in. We've got enough count to get in there, certainly enough count to get us up to the confluence there around 4850, 4860, 4825 area in that area. But we also have more count and enough to get us up into the 5,000, up to the 5,000 level. So that seems like an attractive target to me. Now there are larger counts on this point and figure chart, and we could go to a larger point and figure like a 50 by 3 or a 100 by 1. And we can get counts, we can extend this all the way out to this last point of support and bring it all the way back into here, preliminary demand maybe, and we get counts that would push up to 6,000. But that's getting way, way, way ahead of ourselves. We just want to be content with where we are now, certainly up to the all-time highs and most likely higher. So that's a quick review of the week and what I'm anticipating for next week. Now, next week is going to be pretty busy for a holiday week for us, and we've got a few things on tap. First is on Monday, the 18th, we have a membership monthly class, and we're going to finish up David's book. We're going to talk about the last chapter. He talks in that chapter about some point and figure counting and some ideas about that, and also Renko charts, which is not new to me, but I never really looked at that very closely. So something to learn for all of us there, which is kind of nice. And then deep practice twice this week, one on Tuesday at 8 o'clock, and again on our normal day, Thursday, the 21st at 8 o'clock. And then we will take the following week, Christmas week, off. We will all be meeting it after three sessions of our membership here. That's quite a bit of work, but not just for me, but also for you all as well. So we'll get through next week, and then we'll have a nice break at the end of the week. Everyone, have a great rest of the weekend and a good trading week this week. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you Monday, right after the close at 4:30. And we'll go through David's final chapter of trades about to happen. Everyone, take care. Bye-bye now.